Respect yourself, and others will follow. The Stoics mastered this timeless principle, and it's what separates true alphas from the simps who lose themselves trying to win affection. If you've ever wondered why some men struggle while others thrive in relationships, today we're breaking it all down. In this episode, we'll uncover the 7 biggest mistakes simps make and how alphas avoid them effortlessly. Stick around to learn how to avoid these traps and unlock a more confident, attractive version of yourself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own insights or experiences in the comments. Let's dive in. Chapter 1: Confusing generosity with being a doormat. Simps often fall into the trap of believing that showering someone with gifts, attention, or favors is the golden ticket to winning their affection. While generosity is undoubtedly a positive trait, it can quickly turn problematic when used as a means of seeking validation or approval. True generosity stems from a place of confidence and self-assuredness, not from a desire to gain favor or acceptance. Alphas understand this distinction and only give when it aligns with their values and principles, not as a strategy to earn someone's approval or affection. Female psychology is highly attuned to this dynamic. When generosity is excessive or one-sided, it can inadvertently signal insecurity, suggesting that you're trying to buy attention or love. Instead of appreciating the effort, women often perceive this behavior as desperate or transactional, which significantly diminishes respect. On the flip side, women are naturally drawn to men who exude confidence and give from a place of abundance, rather than neediness. Generosity, when rooted in strength and authenticity, feels genuine and inspires admiration. Simps, however, lose respect because their actions come across as hollow, overly calculated, or insincere rather than heartfelt. This confusion between being generous and being a doormat often stems from a lack of self-awareness, boundaries, and a clear understanding of one's worth. Alphas set clear limits on how much they give, ensuring their actions reflect mutual respect rather than overcompensation. They recognize that true connection isn't built on constant appeasement or self-sacrifice, but on genuine, balanced interactions. When you give excessively without receiving anything in return, it not only drains you emotionally but also sets a precedent for being taken for granted. The wisdom of the Stoics is a powerful guide in this scenario. They taught that true virtue lies in moderation, self-awareness, and intentional action. Generosity is most impactful when it's measured, thoughtful, and meaningful, not when it's excessive, desperate, or driven by insecurity. Avoid the trap of overcompensating for perceived shortcomings by overgiving. Instead, focus on building mutual respect and creating connections where generosity flows naturally, without feeling like a performance or obligation. Generosity, when given in the right measure and with the right intent, fosters admiration and respect rather than pity or dismissal. To avoid being seen as a doormat, take a step back and assess your motivations. Are you giving to share joy and build a deeper bond, or are you giving in hopes of being noticed, liked, or appreciated? The former fosters genuine connection, while the latter often leads to disappointment, frustration, and a lack of respect from others. The key is to strike a balance, give freely, but only when it reflects your authentic self, aligns with your values, and doesn't compromise your dignity. By doing so, you not only safeguard your self-respect, but also attract relationships that are rooted in mutual appreciation and understanding. Remember, it's not just about what you give, but how and why you give it. True generosity, when offered with the right intent, strengthens relationships, reinforces your self-worth, and cultivates respect from those around you. Chapter 2: Over-prioritizing someone who doesn't prioritize you. One of the most damaging mistakes simps make is putting someone on a pedestal, even when it's painfully clear that the feeling isn't mutual. This imbalance of attention and effort not only drains your energy, but also significantly lowers your perceived value in the eyes of others. Alphas, on the other hand, understand the critical importance of self-worth and never waste time chasing someone who doesn't reciprocate their feelings or efforts. Rather than clinging to one-sided relationships, they focus on maintaining their confidence and personal standards, ensuring they are always treated with the respect they deserve. When you pour all your emotional energy into someone who isn't equally invested in you, it sends an unspoken message that you lack self-respect and emotional boundaries. This imbalance doesn't go unnoticed. Women subconsciously pick up on this dynamic, and instead of feeling flattered by the attention, they often feel overwhelmed, uncomfortable, or even repelled. Ironically, the harder you try to win someone over in this way, the less likely they are to view you as an equal or to value your efforts. Alphas steer clear of this pitfall by holding firm to their dignity and self-worth. They recognize when their energy and efforts aren't being matched and have the confidence to walk away when respect and reciprocity are absent. Walking away isn't about being cold or unfeeling, it's a powerful statement that you value yourself and won't settle for less than mutual respect. People, including women, are naturally drawn to those who value themselves and aren't afraid to step back from situations that don't serve their well-being. This is where the timeless wisdom of the Stoics becomes particularly relevant. Focus only on what you can control. You cannot force someone to value you, reciprocate your efforts, or meet you halfway. No amount of persistence, effort, or generosity can create genuine interest where there is none. However, what you can control is your own actions, your boundaries, and how you respond to situations where you're undervalued. By choosing to walk away from unbalanced dynamics, you not only protect your self-esteem, but also create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections to enter your life. It's crucial to remember that settling for less than you deserve isn't a sign of strength or loyalty, it's self-sabotage. Over-prioritizing someone who doesn't prioritize you is a losing game, and it's one that alphas simply refuse to play. Instead of draining their energy on one-sided relationships, they channel it into building connections where mutual respect and care form the foundation. The ability to recognize when you're over-prioritizing someone and the courage to step back is a sign of true strength. By doing so, you not only reclaim your self-respect, but also become someone who commands respect from others. The act of valuing yourself sets a powerful example, inspiring others to treat you with the same level of respect and care you show yourself. Chapter 3: Trying to impress with flash, not substance. One of the most common traps simps fall into is believing that material wealth, flashy possessions, or high status are the ultimate keys to attracting women. They focus on external displays, lavish dinners, expensive cars, designer clothes, thinking these will set them apart. While these surface-level attributes might capture momentary attention, they rarely sustain long-term interest. Alphas, in contrast, understand that genuine attraction is built on character, integrity, and personal growth, qualities that resonate far beyond materialism. Female psychology reveals that while material wealth can spark initial curiosity, it's deeper traits like confidence, ambition, and emotional stability that truly capture a woman's interest. A man's ability to remain grounded, even in the face of success, speaks volumes about his inner strength. Simps often lean too heavily on what they can buy or show off, but alphas know that lasting desire isn't for sale. Instead, they prioritize self-development and authenticity, cultivating a magnetic presence that no luxury item can replicate. The problem with relying on flash is that it sets a shallow foundation for relationships. If you lead with materialism, you risk attracting people who are more interested in what you have than who you are. This creates an imbalanced dynamic, where your worth in the relationship feels tied to how much you can provide materially. On the other hand, alphas command respect and admiration through their principles and actions, not through a checklist of possessions. They know that substance, not flash, is what builds meaningful connections. This concept is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics taught that external wealth and possessions are fleeting, subject to the whims of fortune. What truly matters is the character you cultivate and the virtues you embody. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Alphas embody this principle by focusing on what they can control, their mindset, their actions, and their growth. Simps, in contrast, often let their sense of worth be dictated by external factors, leaving them vulnerable to disappointment when those factors fail to impress. Consider this scenario: a simp might buy an extravagant gift for someone they're interested in, hoping it will win their affection. The alpha, however, would focus on creating a memorable experience or having a meaningful conversation, showcasing qualities like humor, insight, or emotional depth. The simp's approach might earn a polite thank you, but the alpha's authenticity leaves a lasting impact. This distinction is why women gravitate toward alphas. They see them as men who offer value beyond material possessions. Another issue with trying to impress through flash is that it often signals insecurity. A man who constantly flaunts his wealth or status may seem like he's compensating for something lacking internally. Confidence, by contrast, comes from knowing your worth without needing external validation. Alphas exude this confidence naturally because they're grounded in their values and self-assurance. They don't need to prove their worth through extravagant displays. They embody it through their presence and demeanor. It's also important to recognize that relying on flash can be exhausting and unsustainable. Keeping up appearances to impress others requires constant effort and resources, and it often leads to burnout or financial strain. Alphas avoid this cycle by focusing on sustainable self-improvement. They invest in skills, knowledge, and experiences that enrich their lives and make them more interesting, rather than chasing superficial markers of success. This approach not only attracts higher quality partners, but also ensures a more fulfilling life overall. Women are particularly attuned to authenticity. Female psychology reveals that while they might appreciate a man who can provide stability and comfort, they're far more drawn to men who are genuine and self-assured. Flash without substance quickly loses its appeal because it lacks the emotional connection and depth that women seek in a partner. Alphas understand this and prioritize being real over being showy. They let their actions, not their possessions, speak for their worth. The allure of materialism can also blind simps to the importance of personal growth. They might focus so much on acquiring wealth or status that they neglect other areas of their lives, such as emotional intelligence, physical health, or intellectual curiosity. Alphas, on the other hand, take a holistic approach to self-development. They recognize that true attractiveness comes from being well-rounded and continually striving to improve. This commitment to growth not only enhances their own lives, but also inspires those around them, making them natural leaders and role models. Lastly, it's worth noting that substance doesn't mean rejecting material success. It means not letting it define you. Alphas appreciate the finer things in life, but they don't rely on them to establish their value. They understand that a man's worth isn't measured by his possessions, but by the way he carries himself and the impact he has on others. This perspective allows them to enjoy success without becoming consumed by it, striking a balance that makes them both grounded and aspirational. In conclusion, trying to impress with flash is a superficial strategy that rarely leads to meaningful connections. While simps often rely on material displays to capture attention, alphas focus on substance, character, integrity, and self-assurance that leaves a lasting impression. Female psychology underscores the importance of depth and authenticity in attraction, qualities that materialism alone can't provide. By embracing the wisdom of the Stoics and prioritizing personal growth, you can become a man of true value, one who commands respect and admiration not for what he has, but for who he is. Chapter 4: Mistaking Clinginess for Commitment. One of the most common mistakes simps make is confusing clinginess with genuine commitment. This behavior often manifests as excessive texting, calling, or a constant need for reassurance, creating a suffocating dynamic that can overwhelm even the most patient of partners. While it may stem from a desire to show devotion or care, clinginess sends the wrong message: insecurity and emotional instability. In contrast, alphas understand that true commitment doesn't require constant validation or overbearing attention. They know how to nurture a connection without losing their independence. Female psychology reveals an essential truth: women are naturally drawn to men who exude confidence and self-assuredness. Clinginess often signals the opposite. When a man becomes overly dependent on a partner's attention or approval, it creates an imbalance in the relationship. This imbalance makes the connection feel more like a burden than a partnership. Alphas avoid this trap by maintaining a sense of autonomy while still being attentive and present. They strike a delicate balance that keeps the spark alive and ensures mutual respect. It's essential to understand that relationships thrive on healthy dynamics. Constantly bombarding someone with messages or demands for attention doesn't deepen a bond, it smothers it. People need space to breathe, grow, and miss each other. Clinginess denies your partner the opportunity to appreciate your presence because it doesn't allow for any absence. Alphas, on the other hand, are comfortable with distance, recognizing that it can strengthen a relationship rather than weaken it. Consider an example: a simp might panic if their partner doesn't immediately reply to a text, sending follow-up messages that range from concerned to borderline desperate. An alpha, however, would give their partner time and space, understanding that everyone has their own life and priorities. This self-assurance conveys trust and emotional stability, making them far more attractive. It also signals that they respect their partner's autonomy, which is a cornerstone of any healthy relationship. Clinginess often stems from a lack of confidence or fear of losing the other person. These insecurities can drive behaviors that, paradoxically, push partners further away. If you're constantly seeking validation from someone else, you risk creating a dynamic where your happiness depends entirely on their actions. This dependence can feel overwhelming and even manipulative, as it places the burden of your emotional well-being on the other person. Alphas avoid this by cultivating a strong sense of self-worth and emotional resilience. They understand that their value doesn't come from external validation, but from within. The Stoics offer profound insight into this issue. They emphasized the importance of self-control and detachment from unnecessary worries. According to their teachings, happiness and fulfillment must come from within, not from clinging to others for reassurance. Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, taught that we should focus only on what is within our control: our thoughts, actions, and reactions. Relationships thrive when both individuals bring their whole, competent selves to the table rather than relying on the other to fill emotional voids. Clinginess can also erode attraction over time. In the early stages of a relationship, constant attention might feel flattering, but it quickly becomes draining. Relationships require a dynamic of mutual interest and effort, not one-sided dependency. Alphas keep the mystery alive by maintaining their independence and pursuing their own goals and interests. This independence isn't about creating distance, it's about showing that their life is full and fulfilling, with or without a partner. This attitude is inherently attractive, as it demonstrates strength and emotional stability. Another critical aspect of overcoming clinginess is developing emotional self-sufficiency. Instead of seeking reassurance from a partner, focus on building your own sense of security and contentment. Pursue hobbies, set personal goals, and invest in your friendships and passions. When your life is rich and fulfilling, you won't feel the need to cling to someone else for happiness. This self-reliance makes you a more well-rounded and attractive partner, as it shows that you can contribute to a relationship without being overly dependent on it. Communication also plays a vital role in avoiding clinginess. Instead of overwhelming your partner with constant calls or messages, establish clear and healthy boundaries. For instance, if you tend to text your partner frequently throughout the day, take a step back and assess whether those messages are necessary. Are you sharing meaningful thoughts, or are you seeking validation? By being intentional about your communication, you can strengthen the quality of your interactions rather than diluting them with quantity. Lastly, it's important to remember that a relationship is a journey, not a sprint. Clinginess often stems from a desire to fast-track intimacy or reassurance, but meaningful connections take time to develop. Alphas approach relationships with patience and intentionality, allowing bonds to grow naturally. They don't force affection or demand constant attention because they trust that the relationship will flourish if it's built on a solid foundation of mutual respect and attraction. In conclusion, mistaking clinginess for commitment is a common but avoidable pitfall. While simps often overwhelm their partners with excessive attention, alphas strike a balance between connection and independence. Female psychology favors men who exude confidence and emotional stability, qualities that are undermined by clingy behavior. By embracing the wisdom of the Stoics and cultivating self-assurance, you can build stronger, healthier relationships. Remember, the key to lasting attraction isn't holding on too tightly. It's creating a dynamic where both individuals feel free to thrive while growing closer together. Chapter 5. Allowing disrespect without setting boundaries. One of the most damaging mistakes simps make in relationships is tolerating disrespect and failing to set boundaries. They often fear that enforcing boundaries will drive the other person away, so they accept poor treatment, thinking it will win them favor or secure affection. Unfortunately, this behavior does the exact opposite. When you allow someone to treat you poorly, you communicate that you lack confidence and self-worth, two traits that are essential for building respect and attraction. Alphas, on the other hand, know their value and demand respect in all interactions. They're not afraid to walk away from situations or relationships that compromise their dignity. Boundaries are not about being confrontational or controlling, they're about showing others how you expect to be treated. Female psychology recognizes boundaries as a clear signal of confidence and self-respect. Women instinctively gravitate toward men who demonstrate these qualities because it tells them that the man values himself and won't compromise his principles for anyone. This is attractive because it creates an aura of emotional security and strength. A man with boundaries isn't desperate or dependent on external validation. Simps, however, often misinterpret boundaries as a threat to their connection with someone. They fall into the trap of thinking that by being overly accommodating, they'll earn affection. But when you accept disrespect, whether it's through dismissive behavior, constant criticism, or outright rudeness, you set a dangerous precedent. People will begin to see you as someone who can be walked over, and over time, this erodes both your self-esteem and the quality of your relationships. Let's consider an example. Imagine a woman constantly cancels plans with you at the last minute, offering weak excuses. A simp might let it slide repeatedly, hoping to stay in her good graces, or worse, feel grateful for any attention at all. An alpha, however, would address the behavior directly and make it clear that their time is valuable and shouldn't be taken for granted. If the behavior continues, the alpha would have no problem walking away. This willingness to enforce boundaries isn't about being harsh, it's about respecting yourself enough to expect the same from others. The Stoics provide timeless wisdom on the importance of boundaries. They believe that dignity and self-respect are revealed in how we respond to challenges and interactions with others. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, taught that while we can't control how others act, we can control how we respond. Allowing disrespect without setting boundaries not only diminishes your value in the eyes of others, but also compromises your integrity. Standing firm in your boundaries is a way to honor yourself, and when you do this, others can't help but take notice and adjust their behavior accordingly. Boundaries also create a framework for healthier, more balanced relationships. When you set clear limits on what is and isn't acceptable, you establish mutual respect as a cornerstone of the connection. This is crucial for building trust and emotional intimacy. Without boundaries, relationships can become one-sided, with one person giving endlessly while the other takes without regard. Over time, this dynamic breeds resentment and dissatisfaction. Alphas understand that boundaries aren't just about protecting themselves, they're about fostering equality and mutual care in their relationships. Women are particularly drawn to men who are willing to stand up for themselves. It demonstrates that you have a strong sense of self and that you value your time, energy, and emotions. When you enforce boundaries, you're sending a powerful message: I respect myself, and I expect the same from you. This isn't just attractive, it's essential for creating a lasting, meaningful connection. On the other hand, a lack of boundaries signals insecurity and a lack of self-respect, which can quickly diminish attraction. Simps often confuse unconditional acceptance with love, but these are not the same thing. True love and respect thrive when both individuals maintain their individuality and uphold their values. When you tolerate mistreatment, you're essentially telling the other person that your feelings and needs don't matter. This doesn't foster love, it fosters imbalance and, eventually, disinterest. Enforcing boundaries doesn't mean you have to be aggressive or confrontational. It's about communicating your expectations calmly and confidently. For example, if someone speaks to you in a way that feels disrespectful, you can say, I value open communication, but I don't appreciate being spoken to in that tone. Let's address this respectfully. This approach is firm but not hostile, and it sets a clear standard for future interactions. It's also important to recognize that boundaries aren't just about reacting to disrespect, they're about proactively creating a healthy dynamic. This might mean being upfront about your values and priorities early in a relationship, so both parties are on the same page. For instance, if you value honesty, make it clear that dishonesty is a deal breaker for you. By setting these standards from the beginning, you minimize the likelihood of future conflicts and misunderstandings. Walking away from someone who repeatedly disrespects your boundaries is not a loss, it's a powerful act of self-respect. It shows that you're not willing to compromise your dignity for the sake of temporary companionship. This strength of character is something that others will admire, even if they don't always like it in the moment. Over time, you'll attract people who genuinely value and respect you for who you are. In conclusion, allowing disrespect without setting boundaries is a mistake that can cost you not only your self-respect, but also the respect of others. Alphas understand the power of boundaries and use them as a tool to build stronger, healthier relationships. Female psychology recognizes boundaries as a sign of confidence, and the Stoics remind us that our dignity lies in how we respond to challenges. By standing firm in your boundaries, you not only command respect from others, you also reinforce your own sense of worth. This strength is magnetic, inspiring, and essential for a life of integrity and fulfillment. Chapter 6: Neglecting personal growth for the sake of a relationship. One of the most common pitfalls simps fall into is pouring all their time and energy into a relationship at the expense of their own personal growth. This mistake often stems from a well-intentioned desire to please their partner, but the reality is that neglecting your goals, hobbies, and self-development for the sake of a relationship doesn't lead to long-term fulfillment for either party. Alphas, by contrast, understand the critical importance of maintaining a balanced and enriching life outside of their romantic connections. They recognize that their individuality and personal growth are essential not only to their own happiness, but also to the success of their relationships. Female psychology strongly highlights the allure of a man who is passionate, driven, and self-reliant. A man who has his own ambitions, hobbies, and pursuits exudes confidence and purpose. This doesn't just make him more attractive, it also creates a dynamic in the relationship where mutual respect can thrive. When you neglect yourself, however, it signals a lack of self-respect and diminishes your identity. Over time, this can erode the relationship, as your partner may begin to feel the weight of your dependence on them for your sense of fulfillment. Simps often make the mistake of believing that sacrificing their personal goals and interests will make their partner happier. In reality, this approach can backfire. A partner may initially appreciate the attention, but over time, they'll start to notice the lack of balance in the relationship. This imbalance can create feelings of pressure or guilt, as your partner may feel responsible for your happiness. Alphas avoid this by maintaining a strong sense of self and continuing to grow as individuals, even when they're in a committed relationship. The truth is that relationships flourish when both individuals bring their best selves to the table. Alphas understand that by investing in their personal growth, whether it's advancing in their career, nurturing creative passions, or prioritizing their physical and mental health, they enhance their value not only to themselves, but also to their partner. This approach creates a foundation of mutual respect and admiration, where both people can inspire and support each other. The Stoics offer timeless wisdom on this subject, emphasizing that true fulfillment comes from within. According to Stoic philosophy, our happiness and sense of purpose should not be dependent on external factors, including relationships. Instead, we should focus on developing our character, mastering our emotions, and striving for excellence in all areas of our lives. By embodying these principles, you become a source of inspiration and strength, naturally attracting partners who admire and respect you for who you are. Imagine this scenario: you're deeply passionate about a hobby, such as playing an instrument, painting, or running marathons. When you continue to pursue these passions, even while in a relationship, it shows that you value your individuality and personal growth. This not only makes you more interesting, but also creates a dynamic where your partner is inspired to pursue their own passions as well. The result? A relationship where both individuals support each other's growth, rather than one person losing themselves in the other. On the other hand, neglecting personal growth can lead to stagnation, which is detrimental to any relationship. When you stop challenging yourself and settling for mediocrity, it can create an unhealthy dynamic where you become overly reliant on your partner for validation or purpose. This kind of dependence is not only unattractive, but also unsustainable. Alphas recognize this and prioritize maintaining a rich, fulfilling life outside their romantic connections. Personal growth isn't just about achieving professional success or mastering a skill, it's also about becoming a better version of yourself in all areas of life. This includes improving your emotional intelligence, strengthening your physical health, and fostering meaningful relationships with friends and family. When you commit to this journey of self-improvement, you'll find that your confidence grows, your sense of purpose becomes clearer, and your relationships naturally benefit as a result. Consider the long-term perspective. A relationship built on a foundation of mutual growth and respect is far more likely to stand the test of time than one where one person sacrifices their individuality. By prioritizing your personal growth, you ensure that you remain an equal partner in the relationship, someone who contributes not only love and support, but also inspiration and strength. This approach doesn't mean you should be selfish or neglect your partner's needs. On the contrary, when you take care of yourself and continue to grow, you'll be better equipped to show up as a loving, supportive partner. The key is to find a balance where both your relationship and your personal aspirations can thrive. Alphas understand that personal growth is non-negotiable. They know that the best relationships are built between two whole, self-fulfilled individuals who come together to create something even greater. Simps, however, often lose sight of this, mistakenly believing that sacrificing their own growth will strengthen the bond. The reality is that the strongest relationships are those where both people continue to grow, evolve, and inspire each other to reach new heights. By embracing the mindset of personal growth and self-reliance, you'll not only enhance your own life, but also create the kind of relationship dynamic that is deeply fulfilling and enduring. Your partner will admire your dedication to becoming the best version of yourself, and you'll find that the love and respect between you grow stronger as a result. So, prioritize your growth. It's one of the most powerful ways to ensure both your happiness and the success of your relationships. Chapter 7. Confusing attention for genuine interest. One of the most common and heartbreaking mistakes simps make is confusing fleeting attention with true affection. Whether it's a kind word, a smile, or casual engagement, simps tend to overanalyze these moments, interpreting them as signs of deeper interest. This misplaced hope often leads to emotional investment in relationships that were never meant to be. Alphas, on the other hand, approach these situations with a discerning eye, prioritizing actions over words and consistency over fleeting gestures. Female psychology reveals that women respect men who take their time to evaluate the true nature of a connection. While simps rush to conclusions, blinded by the allure of attention, alphas take a step back. They observe behaviors over time, seeking alignment between someone's words and their actions. This patient approach not only saves them from unnecessary heartache, but also ensures they only invest in relationships that have real potential. Attention, while flattering, is often superficial. For instance, a woman may be polite or friendly out of courtesy without harboring any romantic interest. Simps frequently misinterpret these gestures, leading to situations where they chase relationships that don't exist. This desperation can be off-putting, as it signals insecurity and a lack of self-awareness. In contrast, alphas understand that attention is not affection, and they focus on depth and reciprocity. To truly connect with someone, it's essential to distinguish between surface-level interest and genuine desire. Women are naturally drawn to men who display patience and composure. Rushing into emotional attachment can come across as needy, whereas taking the time to assess a connection demonstrates confidence and self-respect. This discernment creates a powerful dynamic, as it shows that you value your time and energy and won't give it away lightly. The Stoics emphasized the importance of patience and clarity in decision-making, a principle that applies perfectly to relationships. They believed that rushing into situations clouds judgment and often leads to poor outcomes. Instead, they advocated for careful observation and thoughtful action. By adopting this mindset, you can avoid the pitfalls of mistaking attention for genuine interest. Consider this: in a relationship built on mutual respect and affection, the signs are clear and consistent. There's no guessing, no overanalyzing, and no chasing. Genuine interest is steady, reliable, and unmistakable. When you hold out for this kind of connection, you save yourself from the pain of one-sided relationships and build something far more meaningful. An alpha's patience is his strength. He waits for actions to align with words, for consistent effort, and for a connection that feels natural rather than forced. This approach not only protects his emotional well-being, but also ensures that he attracts partners who value him for who he truly is, not what he can provide or what they can take from him. In today's fast-paced world, where social media and casual interactions can blur the lines between genuine interest and passing attention, maintaining this clarity is more important than ever. A simple like on a post, a compliment in passing, or a brief conversation might seem significant in the moment, but it's essential to step back and evaluate the context. Is there consistent effort from the other person? Are they reciprocating your interest, or is it a one-sided dynamic? When you stop chasing attention and start seeking real connections, you'll notice a profound shift in how you're perceived. Your confidence will grow, your standards will rise, and you'll find yourself attracting people who genuinely respect and appreciate you. This transformation begins with understanding that not every smile or kind word is an invitation. Instead, it's an opportunity to evaluate whether someone aligns with your values and goals. In relationships, as in life, the Stoic principle of discernment is a game changer. Take your time. Observe. Act with intention. When you master the ability to differentiate between attention and genuine interest, you'll not only avoid unnecessary disappointment, but also elevate the quality of your connections. Ultimately, the key is to prioritize depth and reciprocity. Genuine affection doesn't need to be chased or forced, it flows naturally between two people who respect and value each other. By focusing on this, you'll not only avoid the pitfalls of superficial relationships, but also build bonds that are authentic, fulfilling, and enduring. Alphas understand this. They don't settle for anything less than real, meaningful connections. And when you embrace this mindset, you'll find yourself stepping into a new level of confidence, attracting the kind of relationships that truly enrich your life. Simps make these mistakes out of insecurity, but by adopting the mindset of an alpha, you can cultivate confidence, self-respect, and the kind of magnetism that draws others to you naturally. If you saw yourself in any of these points, take this as your wake-up call. Start making changes today, and you'll see the difference in how people respond to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your experiences in the comments. Let's grow together. Until next time, stay confident, stay focused, and remember, you're worth it.